Okay, everyone, I would like to welcome to our today's presentation on the Hort Calculator, which is an innovative online financial tool designed to revolutionize how leaf green farmers approach biological control investments. We are developing a website as a TurboTax style platform specifically designed for agriculture decision making, where you can input your farm's data and receive customized financial analysis to guide your investments choice in biological control strategies. So our team are developing this user-friendly tool to help farmers like you to evaluate the economic feasibility of implementing natural enemies and cultural practice in your operations. So through dynamic enterprise budgets, the Hort Calculator will provide a comprehensive financial indicators, including profitability metrics, cost structures, sensitivity analysis, and return on investment calculations, all tailored to your specific farming context. So these projects bring together experience from a diverse team of researchers and includes direct input from an experienced farmer advisory board to ensure the tool meets real-world needs. So by the end of this initiative, we will not only deliver an online platform, but also provide extensive training through workshops and monthly webinars, online lectures, and a development of a guidebook. So today we will walk you through our vision of the Hort calculator and how it will transform the way you approach financial decision making in biological control investments. So our topic today is smart investing using the Hort calculator. Are high tunnels worth it? So before handing the presentation to Mario Munoz, which is a master student in the Horticulture and Landscape Architecture department here at Purdue, I would like to ask you to answer three questions that will support our research objectives and metrics. Let me provide the questions here. It's a pretty fast pool. Can you all see my screen, please?
Yes.
Great, I can see that there are answers coming in. Give more 15 seconds. All right, I'm going to close right now. Thank you so much for your answers. And Mario, I'll handle the presentation to you. Thanks for your participation. Thanks for everyone participation here in this webinar. And yeah, after the webinar, we will have some questions and answering. And we are open for talking. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Giuliano. Thank you for welcoming here at this presentation. For me, it's a pleasure to be here and present you what is the work that we have been doing here in the Horticulture project. So let's start with this presentation. I will start sharing my screen. So please thumb up if you are looking at my screen. So the title for this webinar is gonna be Smart Investing using the Horticulture and are high tunnels worth it? So thank you to Dr. Ariana Torres and Dr. Juliano Marquez that they have been leading this project. So the first question that we are trying to answer with this project is, do data decisions lead to greater success in farming? So research said yes. Definitely research has been done in 2024. They have been stated that including data tools in decision-making process definitely will lead you to greater success in your farming operations. So for that reason, we have developed the Hort Calculator project or tool to assess the economic feasibility of spinach production under high tunnels that supports data-driven decisions for adopting sustainable and smart investment. So how the Horde calculator works, we have the input that comes from the general data that like farm size, high tunnel area, yields. We have sales information, market channels, pricing, revenues, variable costs like seeds, manure, fertilizer, pesticides. We put fixed costs as well, like equipment, structures. We take in account the depreciation and overhead expenses like insurance costs, internet, marketing strategies. We have to compute this data, and this is a reminder of one of our first webinar series about the importance of good record keeping practices. So if you want to take a look again from that webinar, you can visit our website, the Horde Calculator Business, where you can find all the webinar on this series. So for this topic that we are evaluating high tunnels, we will add some add-ons, and that will be the cost associated with adopting a high tunnel. But something that we have to take in account, it's gonna be the change in expenses and the change in yield that will lead to adopting this investment. So the output of the Horde calculator is gonna be a cost analysis from the current and the adoption. We are gonna see the profitability analysis versus the current profitability versus the profitability while adopting the new investment, a sensitivity analysis, and a break-even analysis as well. So how Horde calculator is built, the data was collated from 7 farms across Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio. We did some field visits to collect the data just for recording the practices of spinach production under high tunnels. And it was about small scale and medium scale size farms. For this case study, we are gonna use the data from a 65,340 square feet farm. The crop was planted. One of the enterprises was spinach under 1,056 square feet, the total area from this crop. We're expecting a spinach yield of 440 pounds, and the planting date and the last harvest date was between mid-October and mid-February. Also, we have to compute more general data about the farming, like farm income, hourly wage, and we have pointing down all the market channels that we sell and the average price of our sales on each market channel. Also, we compute the variable costs, as we said, seeds, manure, paper plot, the quantity, the unities, the price per unit. We also compute labor costs like in the pre-planting, pre-harvest, and post-harvest stage of our spinach crop production. And we are computing as well the activity and the full-time hours that this activity taken in account or was total in the whole activity. The overhead expenses and the fixed assets as you can see here. So, but for this webinar especially, we're trying to assess the feasibility of adopting a high tunnel, and on average, the cost of this high tunnel is gonna be 15,000, and we're trying to depreciate this infrastructure over 10 years. And some details that we have to take in account is the size of the high tunnel. This is 7,040 square feet, And we are trying to expect increase in yield between 50 and 55%. But this is gonna vary over the time and depends of the crop, locations, and yield. So for this example, we are using a reduction or an increase of the 20% marketable yield of using a high tunnel. So this is a cost structure comparison between the adoption before the high tunnel and after the adoption, the high tunnel. So we're using, as I mentioned, a 25% reduction in the marketable yield. And this is based on research that it has been proven about the benefits of adopting and using a high tunnel under our crop system. Um, so yeah, so we're comparing here that the first difference are on fixed costs and overhead expenses. So before the high tunnel, we have 68 and 71 cents as fixed costs and overhead expenses for 539. But when we adopt the high tunnel, we have an increase in the fixed cost of 124 and overhead expenses about 681. Also, we have an increase for sure in the total cost associated with the production of spinach. So we can make a net profit analysis and we can compare the projected net profit that comes from our sales from our market channels and the yield expected and the average price of this, so we can compute directly the gross revenue and we can subtract the total cost and we have a projected net profit. So here we can compare the difference between, again, the high tunnel and after adopting the high tunnel. So the sensitivity analysis that comes with the Hort calculator examines how changes in key factors like yield and price affect the financial outcome. This slide results before and after implementing the high tunnel, and we evaluate three different scenarios. A pessimistic scenario that it's gonna be a 30% decrease in both in price and yield. A most likely scenario that comes from the average data with prices and yield from the data that we collected from the farms. An optimistic scenario that assumes a 30% increase in both price and yield. So the sensitivity analysis help us to understand how the change on these key factors is gonna impact directly in our expected um, net profit. So in the pessimistic scenario, before the high tunnel, we see a yield of 231 pounds at $7 per unit, generating $641. And in the most likely scenario, we have 330 pounds at $10 per unit, resulting in $2,324. And in the optimistic scenario, we get 429 pounds at $13 per unit, totaling $4,601. And after the high tunnel, at the same case, for the pessimistic case, we have 308 pounds at $7 per unit. It yields at 983. The most likely scenario shows 440 pounds at $10 per unit, generating 3,227. And then on the optimistic case, we have an increase of the 30% that is going to result in 572 and an increase in the average price of 30%. We have $13 per unit and the total is 6,253. So this is scenario highlight how the high tunnel boosts yields and revenue across all conditions. Now the break-even price analysis determines the needed to cover the cost at different yield levels. So also here we have a comparison between the before the high tunnel and after the high tunnel, the three different scenarios, pessimistic, most likely, and optimistic. We have here that the before the high tunnel, how the yield is changing and the average total cost of producing a spinach. So in the pessimistic scenario, we have 231 pounds, and the break-even point or the break-even price is $1.59 to cover that. That is the price that we have to sell to cover all our costs. Sorry, it was $5.49. For the most likely scenario, we have 338 pounds, and the break-even price is $2.96 for covering 975.30. And the optimistic case, we have 429 pounds and requires a break-even price of $1.59 per pound that covered 682 and point 1 cents. So we can make the comparisons before and after the high tunnel with the again with the pessimistic, with the most likely scenario and the optimistic scenario, and we demonstrate how the high tunnel could lower the break-even prices across all conditions. And because this is something that we assume that we're trying to target lowered prices and higher yields, and this is how benefit from all conditions. So remember that the whole calculator analyzes costs and profits to help you to minimize your financial risk, supporting sustainable decisions for spinach and other enterprises. High value markets like organic production are really targeted through pricing and yield scenarios. So using the whole calculator could enhance your profitability, providing you different scenarios about how in different conditions could change. And investments like high tunnels, we can evaluate crop rotations and adopting new technologies are evaluated to ensure financial viability also. So market opportunities and crop strategies are optimized, guiding you farmers toward greater profit. So this is the end of this presentation. So let's open the space just for your questions, and hopefully we can answer the questions.
That was great, Mario. Thanks for presenting that. It was a great explanation on how adopting high tunnel would be profitable for the farmers. I hope everyone who get a chance to watch this video, and that's going to be posted on YouTube. And also there will be our contact so that they can reach us and with questions, and we are more than welcome to answer all of those questions. So before I leave you guys going, I would like to provide another quick poll. So then you will be asking that for us. Just one second. Can you please fill out these questions, please? Okay, 15 seconds more. All right, let me end this pool now. So perfect. I thank you all for participating in this webinar, and we are more than welcome to answer questions eventually you have, and we are welcome to answer that through our email and keep following now our team for the next webinar series that's going to be in the middle of July. Thank you so much, and see you all next time.